Hare Krishna. To be awake is to be aware of our wake. Wake refers in one sense to the awakened state, but wake also has um, mm, to another meaning, which means the impact created by something such as a ship after it goes through a path. So, for example, when the ship goes through the ocean, the water which it has passed over, that water gets parted, water gets agitated, disturbed to some extent. That is called the wake of the ship. Now, similarly, when we move around in the world, whatever we do, we often create a wake in our path wherever we go. And if we combine the two meanings of the word wake and awake, then we can say to be awake means to be aware of our awake, aware of what impact we are having on others. Now, suppose a person is sleeping. Now, in their sleep, they may start flailing their hands and legs, and they may just kick or hit someone nearby. They may hit a loud one. Normally, when they are awake, they would never hit the loud one, but because they are asleep, they're not even aware of what they are doing, and they just hit someone. If later on they are awakened or they awaken, they realize they have hit someone else, they'll be very apologetic and they may try to rectify themselves. So, when we are not awake, when we are asleep, we often may end up doing things that are counterproductive. So, this is what happens to us when we are spiritually asleep, when we are not spiritually awake. The Bhagavad-gita explains to us that we are all souls, we are eternal spiritual beings. But when the soul gets captivated by matter and the soul's consciousness gets consumed within matter, like a person watching the TV and forgetting the whole world apart from the TV, like that, when our consciousness gets projected and caught in the illusion of matter and material things, then we are no longer we are no longer spiritually awake. So in a sleeping state, sometimes, just like in a movie, sometimes there is kabhi khushi kabhi gum, something is pleasurable, something is miserable. So like that, in the movie state, in the sleeping state, we sometimes experience good and sometimes bad. The Bhagavad-gita talks about this, about the soul who is caught in matter in 13.22. Purushah prakristho hi bhungte prakatijan gunan karanam gunasangosya sadasadyoni janmasu. So it says Purushaha, the soul, prakristho hi, becomes situated in material nature. So, bhungte prakritijan gunan, because of the desire to enjoy the products of material nature. Bhungte prakritijan gunan karanam gunasangosya, and because of the association with the modes, sad asad yoni janmasu, the soul experiences good or bad in various species. So we are presently in a spiritually a dormant stage, a sleep stage, but we are like sleepwalking or sleep hitting, and we are indiscriminately exploiting material nature in the name of economic development, and often we power our exploitation of nature with state of the art technology. And we have been doing this, we as humanity have been doing this for several centuries now, exploiting nature indiscriminately, and it is we are now slowly becoming aware that this is having catastrophic consequences. We have not been aware of our awake, what is the impact our actions are having on the environment. Now we have polluted the air, polluted the land, polluted the water, polluted the sound. We have desertified vast areas of lands. We have unwittingly caused the drying of many rivers, and many vast tracts of forests have been deforested. Lots of biodiversity has been permanently lost, and fossil fuels are being irreversibly depleted, and the world is on a precipice of disaster, of apocalypse. And now, and slowly people are becoming aware of this. Now this is one level of awareness, or we could say wakefulness. But still, because of the materialistic desires for enjoyment, we continue to exploit material nature. Indeed, people keep repeating the same behaviors that have caused the economic crisis, instead the ecological crisis, despite knowing the ecological catastrophe that is coming our way. So, to avoid such compulsive and self destructive behaviors, we need to become spiritually awake. When we study scripture, when we study the Bhagavad-gita and practice bhakti yoga, and thus connect with the supreme spiritual reality Krishna, then that awakens us spiritually. And this knowledge and experience arouses us out of our spiritual slumber, and just as awakened person knows what they are doing and what consequences their actions are having, similarly we start realizing that our indiscriminate attempts for material exploitation are counterproductive. They are hurting the environment, they are going to hurt us, and they are going to have tremendous karmic consequences in future. And therefore we learn to rectify our actions. So as we become more aware of our, when we become awake, we become aware of our awake, and then we can become truly more eco-conscious, eco-friendly. So sustainable living doesn't come just by hearing sermons about sustainable living or hearing about the hazards of unsustainable living. Sustainable living comes by spiritual living, by becoming spiritually awake. And Bhagavad Gita's wisdom, by helping us to become spiritually awake, enables us to find the most firm foundation for sustainable living. Thank you. Hare Krishna.